You finally got it. The thing you wanted, the thing you worked years for. The promotion, the house, the person, the number in the account. You stood at the top of the mountain you had been climbing your whole life. And you waited for the feeling. The one you had promised yourself, the one that was supposed to arrive. You waited, and you waited, and somewhere in that waiting, a quiet, horrifying suspicion began to form. That the feeling was not coming, that this was it. That you had arrived at the destination and found no one home. For years, you ran on a single promise. When I get there, I will finally be happy. When the money is enough, the fear will stop. When they love me, the loneliness will end. When I succeed, I will finally be allowed to rest. You did not just want the thing, you wanted what the thing would do to you. You wanted it to fill something, to close a door that had been open your whole life. And so you gave it everything, your years, your sleep, your other self. You paid in full, and you came to collect. And for a moment, maybe, it worked. The first night, there was a glow, a relief, a quiet, I did it. But notice what happened next. Notice how fast it happened. Within a week, the new thing was simply the thing. Within a month, it was the background, the normal, the expected. The car you dreamed of became the car you drive. The home you ached for became the walls you stopped seeing. And the silence you were trying to escape came back, exactly as it was. Same silence, new furniture. You changed everything outside of you, and nothing inside of you moved. There is a name for what just happened to you. Your mind does it automatically, and it does it to everyone. Whatever you get used to, quickly, completely. The joy of any new thing is not a place you arrive. It is a wave that passes. It rises, it breaks, and then the water goes flat again. And your mind, restless, immediately resets the bar. What was once a dream becomes the new minimum. And from that new minimum, it begins to want again. You are running on a machine that moves the ground beneath you. You run faster, you climb higher, and you stay in exactly the same place. A philosopher named Schopenhauer saw this clearly, and it was bleak. He said, a human life swings like a pendulum. Between pain and boredom. When you do not have the thing, you are in pain, you crave, you ache, you chase, and then you get it, and the craving stops, and for a breath there is peace. But the peace does not last, because now there is nothing to chase. And into that empty space, quietly, boredom creeps in. So you find a new thing to want, and the pain of wanting returns. Pain, then boredom, boredom, then pain. And you call that swinging a life. But here is what the emptiness is actually trying to tell you. It is not telling you that you failed. It is telling you that you climbed the wrong mountain. You were sold a map, a simple one. Get the things, and you will feel whole. And you followed that map perfectly. You did everything right. The emptiness at the summit is the proof that the map was wrong. Because if the things could fill you, by now, you would be full. You have more than the child you once were could have imagined. And that child, if he saw you now, would not understand why you still ache. The ache is not a sign to climb higher. It is a sign to put the map down. The Stoics knew this 2,000 years before the shopping carts. Seneca was one of the richest men in all of Rome. And he wrote that wealth had never once cured a single restless mind. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, he said, but the man who always craves more. Watch the trap of more. It can never be satisfied because it has no number. You think the emptiness means you do not have enough. So you reach for more, and the emptiness comes with you, untouched. More is not a destination. More is a direction with no end. And a road with no end is not a road. It is a treadmill with a beautiful view. Walk back further still, 2,500 years, to a prince. He had everything, palaces, pleasure, every desire met before he could speak it. And he was, in the center of all that abundance, profoundly unwell. So he left it, and he sat, and he looked for the root of the suffering. And what he found was not the lack of things, it was the wanting itself. The Buddhists called it thirst, a craving that drinks and is never wet. The problem was never that you did not get what you wanted. The problem is the wanting was never going to stop. Give the thirst an ocean, and it will ask you for the sky. You are not unhappy because you lacked. You are unhappy because you craved. And ask yourself, honestly, in the quiet, who were you getting it for? So much of what you chased, you did not even want. You wanted to be seen wanting it. You wanted the eyes, the nod, the envy. You built a life as an answer to a question other people were not even asking. You climbed into a house of mirrors and called the reflection success. But the eyes of others are a fire that needs feeding every single day. Impress them today, and tomorrow they have already forgotten, and so must you again. A life lived for the watching is a life you never actually get to live in. You were the host of a party you were too busy performing at to attend. So, what is the way down from this mountain? The Taoists carved the answer into 3 small words long ago. He who knows he has enough is rich. Not he who has much. He who knows the having is enough. Wealth was never the size of the pile. It was the end of the wanting. And the end of the wanting is not something you buy. It is something you see. There is a kind of person who has very little and wants nothing and is full. And a kind who has everything and wants more and is starving. The difference between them is not in the bank. It is behind the eyes. Enough is not an amount. Enough is a decision. And here is where the emptiness, finally, becomes a gift. Because if the big things did not fill you, you are free to stop chasing them. And in their silence, the small things become audible again. The light in the afternoon falling across the floor. The first sip of something warm before the day asks anything of you. The face of someone who knew you before you had anything to prove. The plain miracle of a body that breathes without being asked. These were here the whole time, underneath the wanting, waiting. You were so busy climbing toward a life that you walked straight past the one you had. The treasure was never at the summit. It was in the noticing. So do not be afraid of the emptiness you feel. It is not a sign that something has gone wrong with your life. It is the most honest thing in you, refusing to be fooled any longer. It is the part of you that knows you were built for something deeper than getting. The emptiness is not a hole to be filled. It is a space that was finally cleared. Cleared of the wanting, cleared of the chasing, cleared of the map that lied. And in that cleared space, for the first time, you can ask a better question. Not what do I want next, but who am I when I am not wanting anything at all? That question has no summit, and it has no treadmill. It only has this moment, this breath, this quiet, ordinary, sufficient now. So the next time you get the thing, and the feeling does not come, do not panic, do not reach for the next thing. Stand in the emptiness and listen to what it is telling you. You do not need more, you never did. You need to want less and notice more. The mountain was never the point. The wanting was never the answer. Come down, sit, look around at the life you already have. It is, and it always was, enough. You can stop climbing now. You are already home.